What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Basement Gaming. Today we are here to talk about the news that just came out yesterday about Joker 2 getting a script being worked on currently at the moment, where I'm not a fan. I'll just be outright. I'm not a fan. I don't think Joker needs a second movie unless, not even unless, it doesn't need a second movie. I think it was perfect how it was and how it ended. I feel like there's a lot of other villains that they can make origin stories for, because if they're gonna somehow incorporate him with the other Batman movie coming out,
yeah,
I feel like the perfect thing to do would be just make one origin movie per villain that's not, I guess, in the franchise yet.
Yeah, that is different.
Yeah, and then just do the movie and just do like an origin movie for them.
Yeah.
And then whatever movie, how many movies he does after that, just incorporate them that way so people are, familiar with it. Because you don't need to do, because Penguin and Riddler, I think, are already in the movie. So I don't think you would have to do
for the Batman movie.
Yeah, so I don't think you would have to do an origin story for them since technically they're already in there.
Okay.
But I feel like everyone else after, it would be a good way to not only introduce a character to people who may not be really familiar with them, but also give them something different instead of just throwing them in the movie. Because it would save time instead of throwing them in the movie and then doing a quick backstory in the movie where they can use that time for something else.
I hear you. I would say this. I would be okay with the second movie only if it introduces the other villains.
Yeah.
Not really, it doesn't have to show much action. It can kind of they can kind of show him talking to Mr. Freeze before he was Mr. Freeze. Depends on the time skip. I would say like Harvey Dent.
Yeah.
Obviously, Penguin is obviously already being mentioned.
Riddler's already in
Riddler.
there.
So I would be okay with that. Again, that's only if that's the case. Now, I'm actually a fan of the standalone villain movies.
Like,
that's actually different. I'm okay with that. Like for Marvel, switching over a bit, like if they did one for Thanos, I would be okay with that. If they did one for
I think Thanos is too late. But
well, no. I'm saying past.
Well,
So if they did one for him, I would be okay with that. Obviously, the Joker movie was really, really good.
Yes.
Insanely good. It was good. So again, that opens up the door for other ones. Now, with most movies that are really successful, they're always going to have a sequel. It's very rarely that it's just going to stop.
I get they want to do a sequel because it did so well. And then, of course, there's those fans like, oh, make a second one, do this, do that. But I feel like they can use the resources and the time to...
No, I agree.
Add other villains to a solo movie.
I think this movie is going to depend on where it takes place. Because remember, Bruce Wayne his parents died.
Yeah,
so he's still a kid.
Yeah,
it depends on the time skip.
Like if they did what? How old is he in the movie? Like in his 20s, probably. It looks like.
Who?
And
Joker?
Robert Pattinson, Batman.
Oh, Robert Pattinson. Yeah, he's like 20.
Yeah, so if they do like
what's
he? How old was he in that movie? Like 11 or something. Batman, Bruce.
Yeah.
So if they do like a 10, 12, 13-year time skip.
Yeah.
Sure. But like you said, I guess it just depends on what they do. But for me, when I heard the news, I was just like, why?
Well, I already knew they were talking about it. Again, like I get it. Like I mean, I hear what you're saying, and you're right. I feel like it should segue into other villains getting their own standalone movies. And the reason I laugh when you said that, it's away from the DC universe right now because
they ain't got no.
They ain't got know what they're doing. So I get that.
Because I feel like they're just really sticking with what works or what worked for them. So they're like, okay, Joker movie worked, let's make a second. Aquaman obviously worked, let's make a second. Wonder Woman worked-ish, let's make a third.
I see your point.
Flash obviously was already getting his own.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, you already know people want a villain origin story because it worked with Joker.
Yes.
So that would have been a perfect way to say, okay, what other main Batman villain, like a staple of Batman, could work with their own origin story. And you have Freeze, which probably be a popular one. You have Poison Ivy. You could do Two-Face if you wanted, even though technically it's somewhat been done in the original, like the original.
Yeah,
Batman,
but they rebooted. I think what gives them that wiggle room is that they rebooted it so
yeah.
many times. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, I would be okay with standalone villain movies. Again, with the Joker movie, it really depends on when it takes place.
Yes.
And what's the plot.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have, but usually with Joker, it's Batman.
Yeah, but now you can't do.
If he's a kid, it's like where do you go with it? And I still feel like you run such a risk doing sequels because there's no guarantee that you have to take over, especially if the first one won, like he won an Oscar.
Yes.
Like, so you have to now live up to that, and that's such a risk. Like for me, it's kind of like, you know, leaving, like riding off your horse and while you're on top.
Yes.
I would be okay if he decided to, we just did one Joker movie, but I'm going to help write the other villain movies. Yes. I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
But no, I get your point. I think, like I said, it just really depends on when it takes place. And maybe, to me, and I'm going to leave the door open for the level of creativity that he's going to come up with. And let's say there is no Batman. Maybe they still mention Bruce Wayne.
I don't think he would be in the second movie as like the, I guess, antagonist, since technically it's Joker's movie, he would be the hero of his movie. Yeah. But I don't think they would incorporate Batman into the Joker movie yet.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I think depending on how the second one goes, it might just be the last one.
Yeah. So, like, it would just be what would be the force trying to stop him, I guess, or who else is in it? Because you can't just have. I don't know if people. I guess I'm not gonna say people, but I guess for me, I wouldn't be that interested if it's like the first one and then it's just the cops coming after him, because there's no like unless
we all know he's gonna beat the cops.
Yeah, so like unless you have like Jim Gordon or something in there. Yes. Then that would make obvious sense, but if you're just having regular cops and unknown detectives,
I think he'll mention Bruce Wayne, especially if there's a time skip. I think that they'll show like him on TV, or at least his name. Yeah. Daddy took over the company. Okay, history. Like I feel like he would still. I feel like they can make it work as if he still would go after Bruce Wayne. But you don't need to show Bruce Wayne, if that makes sense. Like you can still have the cops, detectives, special agents, and then they don't work out. Then it ends how it ends, and then that shows like, okay, this is how they end up like just becoming arch rivals, if you will.
Because I also feel like and this obviously depends on how connected the Joker movie is to the DC timeline in a sense, only because I can see them doing a time skip with Joker and have Harley Quinn, but I don't know if they would incorporate that Harley Quinn, or if they would end up casting another Harley Quinn.
That's my point. I don't think that.
That's the thing. It's like I'm curious on what they're gonna come up with, but there's a lot of different ways they can go, and some of it. Would it make sense in a way, or would it work?
My issue is, now that I'm hearing this, this comes back to the main issue, is this stupid timeline. Yeah. Because you already have Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn, you have her movie, but again, we don't know if that's connected to the original DC universe. Yeah. It doesn't look like it is, from what I can tell. Yeah. I don't know. So if they're gonna go off of throwing darts and saying, okay, the Joker movies in timeline or universe, whatever.
Yeah, because if it's not, I feel like I think it would so answer a lot of questions. If they eventually like later down the road where they have the script done and they're already about to work on the movie, and they want the director or whatever come down and say, oh, Joker is not set in the main timeline. It's so it would have to be in the main timeline with the Justice League. It would have to be its own timeline or the timeline of Robert Pattinson. Like, that's the thing. And if they come out and say, oh, it's in the main timeline, then the question would be, is Harley Quinn's cast,
or is Jared Leto still, you see, because he's in there now. So the best way for them to get away with this, and it depends on their path, what they're trying to do with this. I think the easiest way to do this, and it can still set up a lot, is just have it in Patterson's.
Yeah, I forgot Leto was.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Leto
saying.
And then Margaret was together.
So that's my point. So I would be okay with him being in Leto's. I'm sorry, Patterson's.
Because it seems like Patterson's is more
darker
in a sense, and that would fit the Joker as his character from the movie.
And I'd be okay with that. I mean, that's makes it easier. I think with DC is you don't want to have way too many timelines. It's
they
just
got
jack
technically they have like 3.
Because they got the Black Superman, the Snyder.
I'm incorporating the Black Superman and Snyder's.
Is he?
He was supposed to be before they cut it, I think. Because remember, it was supposed to be him and then Martian Manhunter, but then they cut out the not Superman, they cut out the Green Lantern part, and then they added the Martian part. So technically it's Snyder's, and it's Warner Brothers, and then it's the Patterson, which is now completely separate. And then
so the Warner Brothers has the Black Superman.
Snyder has the Black Superman. The Black Superman was supposed to be in Snyder's version.
Really? But they switched him to a different timeline?
He's not in it, period.
No, that's what I'm saying. So he's in a different timeline now. Remember, they're making a Superman movie. They scrapped the whole movie?
For Lantern?
No, Superman.
The Black Superman?
Yes. Oh. That's what I'm saying. Remember, they're coming out with a Black Superman movie, but he's in universe something else. So that's what I'm saying. There's like 4 different timelines.
Until they figure it out. Because remember, it was Snyder, which would have had the entire cast plus Martian and Green Lantern.
I get them, yeah.
And then they have the Warner Brothers, which is the leftover cast of Justice League and...
Which we don't even...
Who, I'm assuming Suicide Squad and Harley Quinn, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
And then the third one, which is the Patterson one. And then technically I guess you could say 4 if you want to incorporate the Black Superman yet. But we don't know where he's going yet, so I didn't leave him.
Well, no. They said he's in universe... let me put it this way. He's not in any of the timelines.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. It's 4, yeah. So it's just so
technically you have 4 timelines, and technically 3 since Snyderverse don't matter to them. So technically you have 3 timelines.
Yeah, that's the best timeline.
And that's literally the best one. Yeah, so technically you have 3 timelines, but you don't know where. About Cinderella. What's his name? Phoenix. You don't know where Phoenix is in that. I don't think they ever said where he's at in that timeline. So you have 3 useless timelines, and the 4th one is the one that matters, but it doesn't matter to them. Yeah. So yeah, you can make. I would easily be a fan of if they at least come out whenever they do their next big Warner Brothers DC event. If they at least say we're getting a script ready for another villain movie, or we're thinking about which villain to add next, I'll be okay. I'm like, all right, whatever. I don't care. Do your second or third Joker movie, but you have a slew of villains that you can choose from. It's almost like what they can easily do what Marvel is doing, where they're giving individual characters their own series. Because Loki is getting his,
when is that? This
June 9th, I think, or 11th, 1 or 2. Yeah, because you have Loki, you're having Iron Wars, Secret Invasion. You have all these different shows.
But here's the thing with that, though. They're capable of doing that because everybody's in the same timeline.
Yes.
Until now, so they did it the right way. They kept everybody basically in their timeline. And now, when they introduce, like, WandaVision, we knew about Doctor Strange's multiverse of that. Literally in the title, it says the direction we're going in. And now Loki is supposed to, from what I'm understanding, his show is going to show now the direction of where they're going. It's going to show Easter eggs, all that stuff. So they did it the right way. Yeah. So you're able to give people their individual thing because you set them up from a point. Yeah. Everybody had a starting point together, and then everybody was able to branch off once Endgame was done. DC, it was just like, I was like, and I think that's the thing. It's.
I'm in my head when I saw they're making a second one. I was like, I could have gotten Mr. Freeze movie. I mean, think about it. The Freeze one could have been emotional because of his wife.
True.
You could have had Poison Ivy, who's eco-terrorist, I guess people want to call her, with her plans. That would have been fine.
Fair.
You could have had Two-Face. You could have done. I would be interested in the Riddler movie, and I wouldn't be interested in the Riddler movie.
I don't think I literally replace Jim Carrey.
Well, it's not that. I don't want to solve riddles in the middle of the movie. That's literally the only thing. I'm not trying to think with him.
I do.
And then try to solve it.
I do.
I mean, you have Clayface. You have so many.
Did you see
you
the
could have done
Did you see the mock-up for Batista as Bane?
Yes, I was like,
that looks so good.
You could have Bane, League of Assassins. You could
And
do
here's the thing,
so much with his cast of characters.
I think that it's still coming. I think the
League
Phoenix
actually, League of Assassins would work with the Robert Pattinson's Batman easily.
No, I believe. I think that it still can happen. I think the Phoenix Joker movie literally opened up the door.
It can if they do it. That's the.
Well, I mean, okay, let's say hypothetically they decide to do it.
Because if you think about it, they were in Arkham Asylum, I think, or he was in some madhouse.
Yeah,
but they put
Arkham,
him in Arkham. You can easily just show their names on the door. You can show Two-Face. You can show Bane, and then a few like you can.
They can have a series,
everyone.
and they can have the movies as one villain series.
Yeah.
But with each one, it can start off with panning through the door and showing the name, and then it's just like
they
the
could
backstory.
do
like
what
that's
Spider-Man did. I think it was 2 before he ruined my chances again. But it was at the end of one of them, and they had the room with like Doc Ock, Cynical. They had the whole Sinister Six. You can easily just pan the camera around and show not every villain. You can just say, oh, some of these villains come later.
Yeah.
But you can show like, let's say, Two-Faces in there, or Freeze in like a separate wing, or so at least I mentioned, and you're like, oh yeah, don't
So
go
I
to
think
the basement because it's cold down there.
Yeah, because how it ended, he was still running around from people. So I mean, I'm pretty sure he escapes.
Yes.
I'm sure that inviting Arkham into this is going to be a huge step. Now, the only reason I would say for them to do that is if they're going to take it in that direction. If not, you're just leaving it open.
I will feel.
You're just leaving open-ended.
If they tease some characters and then they do nothing with them.
Because it's definitely an origin movie. So he can be in Arkham and talk to someone and say, "Oh, what's your name?" And then it can be like the actual villain's name. But then obviously it's an Easter egg to say who they're talking about.
Yeah.
I agree. Like I said, I would have preferred a little bit more stability, but maybe they realized that, you know what, we might as well just start.
I really don't mind a second movie. Obviously, it depends how they go with it, but I would have preferred at least one other villain movie before his second one.
That's fair.
I'm not saying they could have done that, not like a tease to Joker at like the end of it, just one solid villain movie like they did with the first one.
Yeah.
And then go do the Joker movie.
Yeah.
And then after Joker movie, do another character.
Well, I didn't hear you, but they're going to milk it. So, that's just how it
We're about to get like 3 Joker movies for no reason. And not one will have Batman.
Oh, God. I cannot. All right. You're an idiot.
That's
about to happen. It depends on what how the second one was.
Joker 2 is gonna do amazing and watch. And you know what's gonna happen? Like, it did great the second time. Why not make it a third? And it'll be like 4 or 5 years later, and then they're like, "Oh, Joker 3 script's been working on. I'm still gonna be doing another video of you got 3 Joker movies and now one origin story for another villain.
A single one. I mean, I'm trying to work to the point where I can get into the offices and help you out.
We'll just kick the door.
Just
give me another villain. Like, I'm only asking for one.
Almost there. I feel like we're almost there. All right, almost to the point where I can just have these conversations. Like, just give it to us. It's like just give it to us. We got you. We'll steer us in the right direction.
The pain.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us in today's episode. E3's coming up
next week. Pre E3 starts next Thursday. Summer Game Fest, yes, is next Thursday at, I think it's 2 p.m. Eastern time. That's basically the pre-E3 before E3 officially starts, which is that Saturday with Ubisoft. I think it's Ubisoft. Ubisoft or EA. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. One of them's Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern time, which I'll probably be late to watch that since I get off work at like 12:40.
Okay.
And then Sunday is Xbox and Microsoft. Next Sunday.
Oh, shit.
Next Sunday. Yeah. I believe it's next Sunday. I think it's next Sunday. Something like that. Next Sunday, I'll look at it again. We'll probably make another video before then anyways. but it's Xbox / Bethesda's joint conference, which I believe I heard is like an hour and a half, something like that. At 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Square Enix, EA or Ubisoft, whichever one's not Saturday. Obviously Sony, who knows what they do. And I feel like I'm always missing a company until later. Those schedules haven't been made yet. I'm pretty sure probably by this week or something they should announce it. I'm pretty sure Square Enix will be Monday. I think so.
It usually,
because Sony was always Monday, but then after Sony left E3, I think Square Enix took the spot.
Sony said we don't each other.
Yeah, literally. So that being said, we will be back.
Yeah, we got videos dropping. Hit that notification. Hit all. Don't personalize it because you're not going to get everything. Thank you very much. Subscribe, like, share, comment, the whole shebang.
And if you're excited for E3, let us know down below what games you would like to see, what you want to hear from a company, and what are your thoughts on Joker 2 getting another movie and, them skipping origin stories for other movies.
And if you want to follow the hashtag Xbox, you better bring it. Hit me up, bro. We can start that trend because I'm on them. I'm on them.
You're the only one.
I'm on them.
You're the only one starting the trend.